Ready for Revolution. I'm your brother and friend, Brother Eric Ture Muhammad. I want to speak to us today about consistency and productivity. These are daily disciplines that produce extraordinary results if we allow it. Now, it's a focus of pillars, and you're going to learn about those in a moment. But focus, intention, consistency, and productivity are the desires of any entrepreneur, any business person, any goal setter, any dreamer. You want to focus. You want to focus with intention. You want to be consistent in all that you do to produce the elements that you desire, the goals that you desire. Now, the four pillars that I want us to focus on is that which directs attention, that which directs purpose, that which repeats productive habits, and that which executes what matters most. So I label them as focus, intention, consistency, and productivity. Now, let's look at the thing that we generally don't want to look at, but why people miss their goals. Because there's a couple of combinations here: lack of focus, no written plan, inconsistent action, no accountability, failure to execute. These things serve as um, nooses around the necks of goal achievement. We have to focus because focus creates clarity. We have to identify our highest value task. We have to eliminate distractions. We have to protect our attention and finish what matters most. Let me talk to us a little bit about leading with intention. Every day should begin with purpose. Every day. Every day should have aligned actions with your goals, meaning those things that you set out to do, are they in alignment with your goals that you set for yourself? Are they in alignment with the dreams that you have for yourself? Ask yourself, does this move me forward? Meaning the action that you take, right? You always have to lead with intention. Okay. We do a thing here at From Wish to Winning. We show people how to develop the focus by developing the gratitude, being thankful for what we have, right? And that being thankful for what we have, 10 in the evening is the general exercise, 10 in the morning, writing down those things that we're grateful for. Then what happens is we wake up grateful. We wake up beyond those things that would normally hold us down in terms of frustrations or those things that overwhelm us, like debt and things of that nature. We have a prayer that we pray where we say, we ask the God from protection against anxiety and grief and lack of strength and laziness and cowardice and niggardliness and being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. Well, those prayers have to be aligned with action because these are goals, these are prayers, these are goals, things, contracts we set between ourselves and our creator. And we align our actions with those goals so we can realize them in manifestation. We begin every day with purpose. We align our actions with our goals. And then in that alignment, we assess, does this action move me forward? Okay. Now, productivity equals execution. In a nutshell, that's what it does. It equals execution. Here's what I mean. When you prioritize impact over in business, you do so by completing important work. Important work completed allows you to measure results. And the cycle continues until you reach that point where productivity and execution are synonymous. You take action against those aligned goals, right? And when you take that action, you prioritize impact over busyness rather, not business, but over busyness. Okay. There's a Pareto law, and this law is a 80-20% rule. That means that 80% of our production is within 20% of our efforts. But the goal here that my mentor, Dr. Ty Best, taught me, you want to flip that. You want to create 80% uh, uh, production and allow that busyness to be only 20%. So you want to prioritize impact over busyness by completing the important work, the work that must get done towards your goals, your dreams, and objectives. And in doing so, you create measurable results. You can track this, you can assess how far you where you are and how far you've come. You can make that kind of assessment and you continue to feed this syllabus, if you will, that allows productivity to be synonymous with execution. And you're going to find that in that consistency wins. Small daily actions compound into extraordinary success. What you do daily, how much of that thing that you do daily that's important, it compounds. So if you do 1% of an effort today, it'll be 2% tomorrow. It'll double on the third day. It'll double from that on the fourth day. Why? Because small daily actions compound into extraordinary success. As the motivation fades, the discipline remains. See, the consistency feeds the discipline where you'll be on automatic remote control and doing those daily actions that compound into extraordinary success. And what are the actions that compound? Those things that you classify as most important to do as it's aligned with your goals and your dreams. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about the power of journaling, and this is where many of our clients sort of get it now. The power of journaling, the power of writing, the power of putting it down pen to pad. What happens is it helps you to clarify goals. It helps you to track progress. It helps you to capture ideas, reflect and improve on that which you've done thus far, and you're able to celebrate wins, victories. Why? Because they're measurable. And what happens as you achieve these moments, these come up moments, as many people refer to, or those aha moments, you realize you're a lot further than you were before you began the power of journaling. I have a journal for every venture that produces income for me. I have a journal. I have a journal for my fintech cooperative. I have a journal for my book projects. I have a journal for my precious metals business. I have a journal, right, for my decentralized finance business and projects. I have a separate journal. I don't just have a book or a notebook that includes everything. No, each one is separate. Why? Because when you separate them, it helps you with your focus and your intention. If I know I'm working on my fintech cooperative, then that's what it is. I have a journal just for that. And then that journal tracks everything related to that particular business or operation. I don't mix apples with oranges. I do this so the focus and the intention and the clarity and the progress can be there. It can be tracked. Ideas are captured in one place to help me move forward. I can reflect, I can improve, I can do those things that allow me to see the measurable result. So you want a journal, and I'm talking about a bound one. I'm talking about one that, I like using the school books. I'll go to the dollar stores and uh, places of that nature, and I'll get a dozen or so of those books at a time, and they're bound. You see, they're bound. They're not they tear off or the spiral. They're bound so they stay together. This particular book is my book of gratitudes that I do every morning and evening, right? But I get these books for permanency. These books are solid. They're not going to tear, they're not going to rip, they're not going to be damaged, and they fit in my bookshelves. So, how I want to be remembered, how you want to be remembered, is something that you might want to consider. How did you think in your days, your heyday, if you will? What kind of mindset helped you foster or create the attitude to grow your business or be the success that you determined yourselves to be for your future's future, right? They fit in my bookshelf because my children's children will get an idea of how the grandfather thought, the great great grandfather thought, the mindset, the principles that he embraced, and how that moved everything forward to their lifetime and how their world is better because I was here today. Make sense? So you want the permanency of your journaling. And part of that permanency is making sure that each journal is associated solely with that particular project, that operation, that thought, that invention, that idea, whatever it is, it has its own journal. Okay. And then in that journal, you want to develop the power of time blocking. Now, time blocking is where you schedule priorities. You reserve deep work sessions. You protect uninterrupted execution time. That's what time blocking allows for. So if you have an 8-hour work day, then you know once you clocked in, your only obligation is to your employer for those hours that you clocked in. And once you're clocked out, then you can move on to do other things that mean more to you. Right now, in an 8-hour shift or a part-time shift, whatever it is, whenever you clock in, that time, that energy, those are the goals of the employer, not necessarily yours. At the same time, you can find a way to make that work, but that's for another discussion. Time blocking here, we're speaking of taking that one journal for that one project, for that one operation, for that one goal, that one dream, that one business, and you time block, you schedule out of priority. So what would I do within an hour's time? If I'm there from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., what in that block of time am I doing? The most important work. I might schedule 3 times. Matter of fact, I know I schedule 3 times per project, 3 block times. I want to encourage you to get a book, study this book known as the 12-week year. All right. And then in that book, you see how easy it is to compound and maximize your time. I'll give you an example. There are 24 hours in a day. In that 24-hour day period, if I divide that by 3, it leaves me with the answer of 8. So there's eight day shifts associated with a 24-hour period. This is what I mean. If you have 8 hours in a day that denotes work, that constitutes work, then what happens is that's an 8-hour shift. That's a day shift, right? So I take my 24 hours, divide by 3, and I have 3 8-hour shifts in a day. But those 8 hours aren't 8 hours of work like your employer, and then another second job, and then maybe a third job or school. It's not that. Each 8 hours represents a day of concentrated, focused work. Whatever journal I'm working out of that day, in that first set of hours, that's the only journal I use. That's the only work that I do. And inside that journal, I'll denote an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. That's right. I'll denote 1 block, 2 block, or 3 blocks of deep work sessions in that journal. So if I'm working on my fintech cooperative, I have 3 blocks of time that I may use inside of the 8 hours. That is a day. I don't use the full 8 hours. I just dedicate the time even surrounding it that speaks to the focus of doing the most important work as relates to that project or idea. So here I am with my scheduled priority. I'll lock 3 times inside that journal for the day. That might be a half hour, it might be an hour, it might be 45 minutes. Either way, that's the entire day for that first set of 8 hours. So if I only dedicate 3 hours of block time and I complete them, then that day is complete. Now I can move on to the second set of days, the second set of 8 hours, which represents day two inside the same day. And here I am now in my other project. I don't do in day two now what I did in day one. In day two, I now work on the next project or step. Now, this is what I do. And so now I'll move on to the next operation, looking at the time blocks I have reserved there and perform the most important work related to that book, that goal. It's all aligned, right? And then these are what you consider deep work sessions because you allow nothing else to get in between you and that space. This is how you protect uninterrupted execution time. In the deep work, I silence all notifications. I don't answer any phones. I don't look to any text messages. I don't look to any pop-ups, anything like that. I don't go to the emails. I silence all interruption and focus on a single task. And that task is whatever I have in that journal to accomplish in that block time. I work in focused blocks, right? And then at the conclusion of it, I can review the accomplishments. All of it is measurable when you're tracking against that dedicated session that speaks to that task. You want an accountability partner. Now, this is major, and you may think not, but an accountability partner is not just somebody you hang out with and share ideas with, but you want to find like minds that are striving in the way that you're striving, not the goal, but to be productive, right? They're striving to be productive, and you're willing to hold each other accountable towards your activities, right? An accountability partner, the power of that accountability partner keeps commitments visible. When I'm with our peers, from which the winning staff, the team, right? We are always in front of each other, want to know how did we do with this particular lesson? What were the shortcomings? What were the victories? How was I able to implement this into my daily practice? Right? Did we get together at the assigned time? Did you submit your work as agreed? Okay. It keeps commitments visible having an accountability partner. It encourages consistency. Accountability partners holding each other accountable challenges excuses. Oh yeah, I can make excuses. I didn't feel like it today. Well, why are we here then? Get back on task. You get to celebrate the progress, the victories that you have accomplished, and your accountability partner is a team partner. It's a business partner. It's a morale builder. Accountability partners are required. Now, how do you choose that accountability partner? And why, rather, would you choose that particular accountability partner? For the honesty, dependableness, the growth mind, the encouraging that happens one between the other, and the willingness to challenge you and challenge each other. Choosing an accountability partner has their uh, essentials, their elements that have to be there in order for it to really, really prosper you. And then the one thing that I do want to share with each of you, this is the biggest, the absolute biggest issue amongst those of us who stall out a little bit. All right. And that's the comparing yourself. You have to stop comparing yourself to other people. You have to stop comparing yourself to people who are working the same project, but it seems like they're much further than you are. You have to run your own race, folks. You have to measure your own personal growth. Focus on progress, not popularity. That is so, so very important. Now, I, speaking with one of our partners yesterday, I spoke to the fact that comparisons are like stop signs or roadblocks on your destination, towards your destination. It has nothing to do with what you're doing. It has nothing to do with what you've accomplished. It has nothing to do on your with your progress. So imagine you're going down your road heading towards your objective, and while you're on this road, all of a sudden you think about what Brother Eric is doing, how it works for him. Now you've created a stop sign because what you think of me is stalling you in your running your race. I'm not on your road. We're not even in the same vehicle. So comparison should not be made. You should be much further than you are. But when you get to that point of comparing, it creates a roadblock and we'll get stuck. Run your race, measure personal growth, focus on where you are and how far you've come. You're able to focus on progress and not popularity because on YouTube channels, because I speak at events, and because all that is a result of decades of application, uh, 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 mentorship, and being coachable. The discipline, the consistency, anything you see of success coming out of anyone is a result of their willingness to run their own race, measure their personal growth, and then focus on progress, not popularity. Now, when you work on these tools, folks, you literally position yourself for personal review, weekly or daily, however you have yourself set up. But you're able to assess what worked. You're able to assess what needs improvement. What will I do next week? And review these things with your accountability partners. These are goals. Now we have a cool challenge, if you will, that I'm going to share with you. But I want you to know how I approach this on a daily. Before I retire for the evening, I write out my gratitudes, what I'm grateful for. I write out 10 per night. But I also go to the mirror. I'll go to the mirror in my bathroom, in the master bedroom. I'll go to the mirror and I'll look in the mirror and I will ask myself, if everyone did for their business today what I did for my business today, what would my business look like? You see? And what it does, it allows me to see where I might have fallen short in teaching and sharing. I might have fallen short in training or consulting. I may have fell short on benchmarks that I set to achieve and accomplish in that day. Well, I do this every day, but I can also uh, truncate it into a weekly summary, right? You're going to find that you accomplish extraordinary feats and efforts with focus, and it takes very little time to do. You'll see. There'll be other sessions where I'll show you some of the productivity reminders that I make for myself and how they're strategically placed so that I'm always subconsciously on task to do what is expected next, right? Now, here's the 30-day challenge. You ready? I want you to journal every day. Journal every day for the next 30 days. Get your dedicated book towards that dedicated goal, and then you journal daily surrounding it. Get that dedicated book. Get a dedicated book for gratitude. What are you grateful for? If 10 uh, things overwhelm you, start with three. Keep working. Three in the morning, three in the evening. What am I grateful for? And then eventually you'll find yourself at 10. It'll be so habit forming. You won't have to look back. You won't even have to think about it. But you'll find that it sets the direction for your day beyond those things that we generally allow to overwhelm us. With your business activity, you want to time block each day. Each day, give yourself a period where you do only that thing and complete one deep work session where there's no distractions, no interruptions every day for the next 30 days. Meet weekly with your accountability partner. Okay, that's 4 times a month. But meet weekly with your accountability partner and never miss 2 days in a row. And you're going to find yourselves wondering how you were able to do this, express yourself all along. Like, how did I work without having these steps set up? Focus, intention, consistency, accountability, execution. I'm here to tell you folks that only doing will get it done. I do want to thank you for the brief time you allowed me this morning. I just felt it was important to share from me on those things that are assisting in our success from Wish to Winning Coaching Club, with uh, assisting in our success as individuals, one to another, and our success as a wealth builder is absolutely your success. May God bless and keep you. I'll see us all on the next live stream. God bless. Forward.